Alright, morning Master Mason note. I'll turn it in here today. I was thinking about fucking yesterday and, well, the last 2 weeks specifically. Blockchain, honestly. You get hooked into it a few times. For me, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna start. I gotta fucking consider where I was living. I wish I could be. I wish I could tell you it's all X's and Y's and Bernoullis and shit. But man, you gotta figure since 18, when I was 2018, when I was last working up there, I'd come from. I left. I went to Guston's, right out there picking rock in the backyard. I've been to, what is it, Delaware Basin Stone. I think I was in there like that, which is a tread line. 5 foot monsters running, training guys down there, doing that kind of thing. Then what did we go to? I think we went to we were at Tompkins for a little while with Dal and up there on their tread line and the Veer and those other guys. And I gotta be honest, that line's easy enough. I could run balls out, running the torch, loading the tables. Man, I had that whole stairway to heaven stacked up inside of there, burning on side of those things. That's what I know to be the truth. It's what I know. It's what I know the truth to be. Also, double axe stone supply, right? Another tread line. So there's 3 tread lines, back to back to back. That's where I'm coming from. I really don't give a damn if some kid doesn't understand, because the truth, I don't give a damn if anybody doesn't understand. That is what they are. That is how you do them. It's mean, it's crotchety, it's nasty. I've watched Donnie's technique trying to deal with the guys, juggling them on the line with kid gloves and this soft damn thing, and kind of botched it in the office for what those things does. I know he sure shit did with me. Dal over to Tompkins and things like that, and I loved working with Dal. I think Dal was one of my favorite guys to work with. Quiet, old schooler, that country cowboy, been around forever. You can tell he'd been doing it for a while. And I really like working with Dale and stuff like that. I really like working with Veer and things like that too. I never thought that was the problem. We had other things that were an issue contractually at the table for Tompkins. Now, I didn't even really want to work on their Italian gantries. I was happy and content to work that tread line. I think it was fine. I don't mind burning rock. Didn't mind loading the table. Didn't mind wrapping pallets. Didn't mind, coming over and catching for them. And I really didn't mind letting Dale do the cutting. I think he did fine. Love to let him work the orders. I know I certainly could do it, but that's not the point. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm trying to do. I think it squared everything away, and it made everything fair for the numbers certainly I was putting up to the table. Somebody's going to tell me this, that, and the other horse shit. And you understand, that is where I have a big problem. Hold still. You know what I mean? Just hang on for one goddamn minute, Valentine. I know y'all beat up and fucking tore up too. Problem happened there. Well, the same thing happened at Delaware Basin. We keep passing around guys, keep fucking pushing them over, doing things like that instead of properly training them. I mean, you can't fucking, there are places where you will get serious training out front. It's like you got to go CDLs and do all this other shit before you can ever even touch the goddamn equipment. But here at its tread line, if you can get paid, let's look at the kid here. Obviously with no experience, to just jump right in. And I mean right into it. Right into orders, right into sets, right into systems. You have to start planning that out front. You're going to have to pay a little bit out front, whether it be in time and space, whether it's going to be the time it takes you to train them, or the space, numbers of peoples and systems and X, Y's, and Z's it takes to train them. Otherwise, shit's going to get wild. And I don't say that it's a fucking kid. That's my first bit. He's a 19-year-old kid, young guy. inside of there. And that's what that is. And I could really give a damn less about the kid. I just can't work next to him like that. Not unless they're going to listen to my training. Because I was being sweet on him. This is where things get a little fucking frosty. Because I know every single one of those guys. Again, I know every single one of the line. I got the privilege to be trained underneath those systems. So when it comes down to it later, when OSHA asks me the question, what's up, big dog? Who's going to have more of a comprehensive review? You know, these top end guys, or somebody who had actually worked those lines, trained under the masters that were there training guys, in every one of them, damn near. The only exception to that, I'm not going to say names, but there was a few exceptions to that where I haven't been around, and I'll probably never get the chance to. Maybe the situation will be better. Maybe they'll do it. I don't care. I really don't. I'm sitting out here slamming numbers about OSHA, MSHA, fucking interrogation, the police in town, you know, and stuff like that. Not our specific police in town, but certainly what are protocols, what are systems. And I'm just slowly watching this thing devolve into this system that will definitely cause a problem. And it almost goes against the grain a little bit when I say devolve into a situation here. We're trying to be more progressive in the system of automation and shit like that. But when it comes down to it, Paul Bunyan, you know, you and Blue are what the automation always was, the autonomous program for what these things are. Sometimes you have to do programs, right? And sometimes those programs can require it to think X, right? So what's that mean? Well, it means sometimes you have to think outside of the grain or outside of the way to integrate the Euler's number, to integrate the turbulent flow systems into this. And it's gonna be a little rough. There's friction in those pipes. What I can't stand, you know, it's to the point where I don't need somebody to help me do training. I'd rather break a kid and have him leave, because that's what happens to all of us. And now we're in some damn world where, you know, you gotta treat these fucking kids, you know, everybody's trying to buy up on fucking heroin addicts and everything else. Like, oh, this is the way you fix the world. No, it's not. It's not the way you fix the world. You let some motherfucker starve for a little while and figure it out. Because that's where we've been living. You know, it gets to the point where, you know, it's going to come to a time, especially with a guy like me, when I do my own damn numbers, when it's like, for the next 5 years, you know, it comes down to it. As much as I want to get laid, as much as I want to go out and have a good time, as much as I want to do those things, I can't. I just can't. Can't physically afford it. Right? You know, it's going to be a car insurance, it's going to be a house, it's going to be light bills, all those other things that I'm going to have to take care of inside here at the base run. Now, I couldn't do it from back then. You did the numbers. And you got to figure being single like that is going to come at a cost. It's going to come at a system. It's like, I'd love to pull on extra on top of this and tell everybody some sweet ass fucking lies about what that is while I'm trying to take that on. But what happens? People fucking snap. That's what I do. Built like a piece of stone. This isn't a piece of metal. This is the human body, right? You know, you're going to put a 2-inch over this far on the forklifts for what it is, or over a piece of metal, and you're just going to start stacking weight on there. And what's going to happen? There's not going to bend. It's just going to snap. Right? Even a piece of metal will bend and then the shit will fall off, but what difference does it make, zeros and ones? I can't use that piece of metal no more. You know, inside of here, I'm going to train some kid. I can't have him running out behind my back when I had to know these rules about, well, don't be talking to people. You know, this is not a conversational model. This is not fucking sweetsies and funds. And, you know, I know some kid over here, he's trying to tell, you know, make conversation and, well, I do this hard job and I do these other things like that. Well, you don't have a damn clue, firstly. And secondly, like that, run into those two, start to run into me about a damn problem on training. I need to know orders. I need to know timelines. I don't need somebody walking over into the shop telling me, hey, I got to readjust this damn model when they never had it correct to begin with. or they failed on turnovers or systems or teams and other values inside of here, which lead to those problems, and then ask me to buck that with more fucking problems. I had enough fucking heat on there. I had enough fucking pressure for what it was inside of there to tell me my training technique needed to be differentiated inside of this system. That's exactly what this boils down to. Inside of there, I was fucking ready to pegged off across the board as it was, because I know I need to. Now me, I can hold that level just like that for a real long damn time, as long as it can take. I was making forward progression on the ball. Now I can't say anything to readjust the thing, and it's definitely going to back that down into a system. I can't. I physically can't. I look at the stock margin. I look at the performance lines. I look at the turnover, and I say to myself, is this something that I could do in the long game? Even if it was for a day when somebody's going to tell me, well, why don't you just do it for a little while until this, that, and the other. You have to stop. You guys have to stop that shit right now. Start looking at it serious inside of here. Jordan's going to do things. He's going to, if I'm the Clydesdale and you some damn Shetland pony or miniature horse in here, I'm going to plow you. You're just going to be the plow in here, and I'm going to drag you the whole damn way along. Tired of that system, because it was always the system used on me. Somebody say, well, why didn't you say anything inside of there? Why didn't you, the one I love, why didn't you just ask for more or something in there? Well, when you start in the day one, okay, you're not making what you want inside of there. That's off the start. Then there's the other ones where it's like, well, you ask for raises. You give them a 2 weeks notice. Right? And they don't want you to stay. Whether because you're making the top end for it and it destabilizes the bottom end of it, or because whatever reason, I don't really give a damn. I don't know the product line. I don't know the what do they call it there? The axis of the performance value across the top end. And it says labor, systems, repairs, parts, systems that a guy on a prime leisure says that's what that cost correlates to. And then there's a profit margin inside of there. All right, and then I don't even care that there's the boss, you know what I mean? And make all the money you can off of me. That's your job. That's what the system does. You got to be efficient with those systems. You have to be critical with those, and at no point in time will it ever be easy. Ever. Not once. Maybe over the years it's starting to lighten off on that cost, but then, you start to put a crown on that brother's head, because, well, it's going to wind up being real big for that hillside somewhere's on the topology. And that comes at a cost. Maybe one that's acceptable under certain ratios for what it does. But we live in a world where we just can't go run around shooting animals in the people's backyard. I just can't walk into somebody else's fridge. I just can't be banging somebody else's wife or gunnies, you know what I mean, while I'm trying my best to build Shangri-La. And I really don't give a damn. Somebody said, well, it's not my job to build Shangri-La. Then it wasn't yours, right? Why did you make a company like this? Why did you guys choose to go out here? Why did you choose to continue a company's model inside here, right? Because you wanted something. You wanted something to be more than just some damn pissant out here, right? Well, excuse the fuck out of me for wanting some of that too. And go ahead, tell me about it. Because you know what'll happen. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to tell you he's gonna fucking lose it on you, if not fucking wind up going to jail that day. So we have to be serious about guys like us. Doomslayer pops up constantly throughout the fucking history of eschatology, guys. This is going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. Either you guys want to do that, right? COVID. Somebody's play out there that's like, well, that's what we have to have happen. And then you get the fucking half-ass horse shit inside of here, living in the middle of it. Got to have your cake and eat it too. No, you need to be serious with people. You need to be serious with old people. You need to be serious about what's going to happen to them one way or the other. You got to be serious about retirement. You have to be serious about, hey, this is Earth. Not fucking Shangri-La. So by all means, I'm waiting for somebody to give me that conversation. Please, if nobody can step up, then I'm gonna assume that I was right. And if nobody's got the balls to say anything to me, then I'm gonna assume you don't have the information to handle it. And that's going to put it back in my court anyways. So when we get into this conversation about the interrogation of two people in a room having a conversation under camera, and it goes certain ways, whether somebody's not intelligent enough to handle it, or it's just a bunch of fed up bullshit. Something people got away with for years and years and years. Here's this picture of this girl, brother. Here's a picture of this girl. How do you know her? Here's this one. I get to look at that shitty work ethic for all these years and watch motherfuckers have 2 or 3 kids. Honey, I'm talking to you too, because you make the choice about, I'm not looking at any of those ledgers or numbers. You're just going to be thinking about, oh, well, it's a paycheck today, good enough to get locked up, or allow them to get you fucking knocked up, and then it burns the goddamn board for the rest of us. Right? Because honestly, I can't touch you. Well, one, finances, it says it's reckless and irresponsible for me to be with you. Right? It's not my kid. I got to deal with some other asshole involved in the situation now, because of choices you made, because of choices they made, because of choices bosses made. Not having conversations with the guy. Oh, the freedom, they're allowed to do what they want. Well, you would think that, wouldn't you, until somebody has something to say about later on. And I know it wasn't the biggest deal here, but it would have been. Because this is what was underneath that. As far as what little shit are on there like that here, I have the chance. I had a chance to take a 19-year-old, a couple of them potentially, and actually try to break that down to them, give them an advantage, so they don't have to worry about this conversation coming up. Because if they fucking work the hardest that they can, every goddamn day that they can, then maybe it'd be worth something. Maybe it's worth something for that kid to be trained. Maybe it'd be worth something for that old lady to hang on to him. Maybe it'd be worth the property on the fucking turn. Maybe it'd be worth the money. But unfortunately, I've had to watch brother after fucking brother after fucking brother knock up some sister, or just sit in the system and just, not be some worker. Here I'm sitting on the outside. Honey, brothers, you guys made choices to do this thing. And to be honest, later down the line, let's look at the divorce rates. Let's look at some of these other things that come up when nobody wants to pay attention to it right now in the immediate. Right? Because they can't have the fucking foresight to go inside here, nor the grace to commit that fucking conversation down. Because it's not about grace. It's about form, files, function, and technique on that floor. That 83 of that stone mill is the exact position in which that building should be at all points and times. Sometimes that's hard. You're going to be carrying 3-footers because the air crane don't fucking carry over. That's going to be carrying 4-footers. That's going to be separating things. That's going to be looking at a boss and saying, hey, I know unless it's premium order about the half sizes and shit like that, you knock it back and turn it into pattern and make everything the footers. Right? 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6. And unless it's a specialty order to cut something like that inside of the rock, there's no reason, none, to fucking try to run it like that. Because you're just going to slam out your yard, you're going to slam out those bays, you're going to slam chain whip, just fucking water hammer in the pipes, Mario, of the fucking housing works before it starts to blow out, gets involved, leaks out the water, or leaks out the wall, fucking black mold, makes a problem with a shitty electrician in here that decided to do some, causes an electrical fire, and then the house burns down. So I need you assholes to understand this. Time you fucking grow up.